Hi, my name's David Moon, and I'd like to share a project with you looking at invasive plants on a school campus in southeastern Vermont. The Putney School is on a working dairy farm that has been in operation for many, many decades. And as a result, there's quite a dramatic array of invasive plants growing on the campus. So I wanted to find a way to record and share data around invasive plants. So I created a Google Earth project with these different quadrants identified as places that have some habitat uniformity, but also might be addressable by a group of students and faculty in a given period of time. It's also associated with a Google Doc that describes what's going on in each of these quadrants and makes suggestions for what could be done and allows the folks involved to record what has been done. In 2012, a particularly able student did a survey of 9 species that we identified and just collected a tremendous amount of data. You can't even look at all this at once, but the data really shows where different species are found, both patches that are represented by these polygons and in points that are represented by the place marks there. And the color code is based on the density of the occurrence of any individual and different given species. It's really interesting to look at the different patterns of different species, such as garlic mustard, which likes edges. Some things are quite prevalent, others not so much so. Fortunately, bittersweet is not terribly prevalent. But one of the most interesting species that we encountered is winter creeper. This is a species that's interesting for a couple of reasons, one of which was that it had not yet been recorded officially by the state of Vermont. We found this plant first when we were on a work day removing all the invasives we could in given quadrants. It starts as a ground cover and then grows up objects, and that was something you don't see with other rascally ground covers. We believe this particular one is the first specimen on the campus, the sort of original mom of everyone there, and that it was planted in a formal garden that used to be at this location. It's interesting how after that ground cover climbs something, in this case, whatever the object was, is gone. It will send out lateral branches once it gets to a decent height, and that's when it becomes sexually mature flowers and fruits. We did remove this specimen and have replaced it with another non-native, the Japanese maple there. We think that the first place that it got loose on the campus was amongst this cluster of black locust trees that it was growing very prolifically in. There's no ground cover here because it's so intensely mowed and trimmed there, but there was a very intense root mat in the crotch of the tree. These are vines right here, and it was really remarkable how the vines growing up the branches and trunks in particular sent rhizoids in under the bark into the living layer and really caused some damage when we removed it. This was a fruiting specimen that we felt we'd better get rid of because so many berries were coming off of it. The reason why we really found the species disturbing is because we also were finding it in closed canopy forest interiors. And there were a number of incidents of finding this plant right inside the forest. This was the biggest one. It looks like, some vinca might have gotten loose here. You can see where it's climbing the trees. And we decided to try to tackle this occurrence on one of our work days with a crew of about 5 or 6 students. It was really very, very thick. And when we started to remove it, we found that because it is so shallow rooted, fortunately, it was actually quite easy to pull, and that it was so intertwined that we could just roll it up like a carpet. And we would beat the soil off of there so it wasn't so heavy we'd get a hernia. But it really was intense to get all that stuff into a pickup truck. And we filled it twice as we were taking it out of there, took it to a burn pile. But it was very, very satisfying to be able to really remove it in such a clean way. I went back I guess it's 3 years later this fall, and took a look at the site. It looked pretty good, but I did find 10 or 12 of these little sprouts, which were extremely easy to remove. So I would say that occurrence has been taken care of. So it doesn't grow extremely rapidly, but it does grow inside the forest instead of along the disturbed areas where we find so many of the other plants. The other places we found it really varied. They range from little infestations like this one here that's very easy to take care of. That was gone the first year it was discovered amongst these lilacs. But there were some other areas that disappointed us because of our initial successes. We were really unable to take care of this occurrence along a woods road where the rhizoids and roots were woven very much amongst the roots of all these shrubs and small trees. We picked a bunch of it, but it just wasn't coming out anywhere near as cleanly as in that other situation. So we really feel like this location is going to require tethering goats or some such. In any case, I wanted to share this as an interesting way to record and share data around invasive plants, one particular occurrence, as well as an overall issue of management on this campus. And we feel that this is a good way to record and share this kind of information. Thanks for watching, and if you would like to get a copy of the Google Earth file that I've been using to show this, I'd be happy to share it with you.
Visit greenteacher.com to find links to other videos, webinars, books, and Green Teacher, our quarterly magazine for youth educators. While there, sign up for our free mailing list to learn more about upcoming free webinars and videos.